Good evening and welcome to the Limerick Board of Select Persons meeting for December 16th, 2024. Please join us for the flag salute. Well, I'll look for a motion to approve the December 9th meeting minutes.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor? I'll look for a motion to accept the warrants from December 9th.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Next, I'll look for a motion to accept the current warrants.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? And would someone read the announcements, please?
The planning board will not meet this week. There will be a special town meeting on Monday, December 23rd at 7 p.m. to discuss the warrant articles to commit the ARPA funds. The select board meeting will follow. The snow date for the special town meeting is Monday, December 30th at 7 p.m. The municipal building will be closed Tuesday, December 24th, Wednesday, December 25th, Tuesday, December 31st, and Wednesday, January 1st for the holiday. The library will be closed as well for the above dates, except it will close at 12 p.m. on Tuesday, December 31st. The appeals board has 3 vacant seats to fill. Please reach out to the select board admin if interested at 793-4475. As a reminder, if you're speaking at any meeting, please go to the microphone so everyone will be able to hear. As part of the hearing a citizens policy, no personal attacks on any individual or firm, including town employees, town officials, or members of the public will be tolerated during any meetings. Please direct concerns about individual employees or town officials to the chairman of the Board of Select Persons outside the public meeting. Please stay current with town information by visiting www.limerickme.org. And the current positions that are opening in March and nomination papers are now available. We have 2 select board for 3-year terms, a road commissioner for a 2-year term, RSU 57 director for a 3-year term, trustee of the Limerick Sewage District for a 3-year term, trustee of the Limerick Water District for a 3-year term, 2 planning board members for 3-year terms, 2 library trustees for 3-year terms, and 2 budget committee members for 3-year terms.
All right, take out those papers. Okay, for department reports. I have something to read from the Revitalization Committee. So this is a Handicap and Revitalization Committee report to the Select Board. It's dated 12/16/2024, so I'll just read the highlights of this. On Monday, December 9th, 2024, a full audit of the Hollandville project was completed by an EPA auditor. No negative findings were reported. On Thursday, December 11th, 2024, the town of Limerick received $1 million for the Hollandville project. That same day, the bridge loan was paid in full. This completes the Hollandville project. Thank you to everyone who was involved with this project. The Handicap and Revitalization Committee is working with the Water District on the Deep Vale project, which encompasses work on Emery Corner Road and Central Avenue, replacing infrastructure that is over 100 years old. A project request to our main representative and senators was submitted this spring. In June of this year, both Senator Collins and Senator King selected and recommended to the Senate Appropriations Committee that the Limerick Deep Vale project be funded for the requested amount of $1.6 million. Oh, here's another excerpt. On July 25th, Senator Collins advanced the request to the Senate for a congressionally directed spending project for the town of Limerick in the Appropriations Committee. So that's the highlights of the, the sewer projects thus far. So stay tuned. We'll have more information on the current funding request. What, did I hear that, Gail? Yes. Okay, we'll We'll do that. Okay, next department report is from Stan Hackett of the Many Hats.
Good evening, Stan Hackett, Code Enforcement. We're representing Code Enforcement at least tonight, this hat. The building permits or permit fees and revenues, including licensing year-to-date, as of last week was $118,832.67. The one thing that it doesn't include, because the plumbing module doesn't do it, is the subsurface systems. Those are an individual permitting side of the permit. So that I will update you on in a future meeting. I do have another thing from the Maine DOT regarding the beacon light in the last winter storm that we had, or windstorm that we had, got taken down by a tree at Rangy Road and Secocas Trail South. Rather than to fix it, which was going to be $5,000 plus, and then we'd had to fix the pole, DOT and I have discussed removing the beacon, taking the meter that governs that beacon and moving it to Enterprise and Dole's Ridge Road, where the request for a street light be placed. They have agreed to do that as long as the town would, since we're no longer maintaining and responsible for the beacon light, to take the responsibility of the LED lights that are there. They're already wired, they're already installed, so there's no immediate need for any maintenance, but if a plow truck hits them, they'll have to be put back up or whatever, or an accident. So that's what they're asking in lieu of the beacon. The other thing, the beacon ran 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. The street light does require a little bit more power, but it is an LED street light. That will only be running dusk to dawn. So it will probably equal what you were paying, or close to what we were paying for the Rangy Road and Burnham Road beacon. The maintenance of the beacon, every time the bulbs went out, the road commissioner would have to hire another company to come in to install the beacon plus traffic control. So that's one of the reasons why the $4,000 or $5,000 per whack comes in. So it's one of those things. And if the board would agree with that, I do have their agreement, which you guys, I have printed off a copy for you in front of you. You have that to review. And I would like you to consider that and vote on that if you would. What was that, Steve?
Are these solar only, or are they
The LED four-way stop signs, the flashing and the warning signs that there is a stop ahead, those are all LEDs, so they're not powered by electricity, they're only powered by solar. The batteries can withstand 3 days fully charged, so again, there is no need to connect them to the power, and that will also resolve the problem we're looking at with CMP, Louis at CMP and Maine DOT. The pole that is there really isn't servicing anything other than that beacon. So we're going to remove it, and I know there is a concern that there's a tree there, or the remaining part of the tree that's headed towards the street side. If that part goes down, it will take the power lines that are on the opposite side of the street with it. So we're working on that. That's not something that the road commissioner can do because of the law where you have to be a licensed arbiter to remove the limbs on a lift. So we're working on that and trying to do it without any cost to the town. So that's, if we can bear with it, and hopefully we don't get any enormous storms in between now and then.
Okay, well, has everyone had a chance to look over this municipal state agreement form? So we could facilitate discussion. I would entertain a motion to approve the agreement, and then a second so we can have some discussion.
I make a motion to approve the municipal state agreement regarding the installation, operation, and maintenance of the flashing LED lights on Route 5 at the intersection of Range E and Burnham Road.
Second.
Okay, discussion.
Is this something that we just started talking about? Them transferring this over with the change?
We started discussing this because when the storm hit and we lost the beacon, DOT came down on the road commissioner and said, you need to put it back up. So he went with 2 different people to get pricing, and the lowest price was $4,000, but they left it open $4,000 plus because of the pole issue.
Yeah.
Also needs to be uprated. On top of that, before, I've been working with Alicia on the street light with Enterprise and Dole's Ridge. There is a solar option there, so before I approach the board for permission to relocate that meter, I wanted to look at what the LED portion would be, because then we wouldn't incur the cost of power. So, technology is changing, and I know it's taken a little bit of time, so the person that was concerned about lighting the intersection, if they'll just bear with us a couple more weeks, then I will definitely have an answer on hopefully saving the town some money and removing 1 additional meter.
But the transfer of this is not related to moving that meter, it's just related to the 4 posts up there on Route 5? Do we know anything about the repair and maintenance that would be expected on those?
Well, they're easily maintained, and I have the information packet because the town just ordered and did receive the 4-way LED stop signs for
And
Quarry
recorder.
Road and Range E Road. There's not much to them.
Yep.
If anything, the battery may need to be replaced, but the battery life is expected to be 10 years. So hopefully we get that. And by the way, I thank you for bringing that up. I'm tangling with Spectrum right now, so I've been in touch with their corporate office, Charter, which is the government side. They will be relocating that power line and removing that pole.
Excellent.
So it's, with more snow events, the banks are going to be pushing more up against that, and the only thing that's really holding that is that cable wire. So if anybody sees me out there, I'm watching it.
Thanks. All right.
Well, as there's no discussion on this, and there is a motion to accept the municipal state agreement, all in favor?
And again, I apologize to the audience out there. I have hearing aids, so when I speak, it sounds like I'm yelling. And every now and then, somebody's got to come up and stick the mic right up my nose so that I can be heard. Thank you, Gil. So does the board want to take another week to think about this and vote on it, or?
Well, I think we just voted.
We just voted on it. We approved it. Yeah.
This is the one.
That's the official one,
for you
huh?
to sign.
Okay.
Okay, so we did the building permits. There's another concern before I turn the lectern over to Casey, who has done a wonderful job. Before I do this next one, I want to tell everybody with Lot 106, 105 that she's talking about on Dog Road, The courts, without the help of the attorneys, which didn't want to help the town acquire some court records that relate to 1953 and 1954, when the Martells lost the ownership of the property. I was able to connect with the DA, and they are retrieving those court files from the archives in Augusta for us. And instead of having me drive up and retain them, they are sending them down, and I will pick them up in Biddeford and share those with Casey so that we can sell that property outright for the value that the people want. And I do want to thank the people that are interested in purchasing it for being patient. But it's been a very frustrating thing with some legal advice that we're getting. Doesn't really want to seem to move forward with the best interest of the town as far as the most money that we can market them for, whether it's for the town or whether it's for the heirs or the owner. So which brings me to the next thing. Over the past week, I've had a lot of time to reflect because I threw my back out, and I've had some other conversations with legal. They don't want to, or they don't advise pursuing an illegal subsurface system, which is a state violation, which could potentially land on the town's expense. And even though the town, if it has to repair it or remove it, the town would have to put a special lien on the property. So, and this has been ongoing. I think I shared the letters in response from this property to the board that I am unconstitutional and et cetera, et cetera. But with that, another issue is we have an ongoing person that decides to do his own thing and not follow the conditions that he agreed to follow. He's also not following the DEP agreement that he agreed to follow. And there's a few other incidences where we need legal, but in my position, I'm not supposed to and I shouldn't be, and I don't have that reputation yet and don't wish to have it, is to be a selective enforcement. So I've been pretty fair. I do not like writing notices of violation. I do not like calling people on the carpet, and I have a very good success rate of being able to communicate with people to do the right thing versus taking them to court. But we do have two, and it's accumulating because they know that at some point, if I don't have the backing of the attorneys and I can't get that and go to the board and say, can we or should we or what would you like to do, then we're not getting good legal advice. The other thing is the sales of these properties. There is a little bit of extra effort. We've been able to establish we have two more prior owners or their heirs' children who we've been in contact with that would like to repurchase the property and pay off what is owed. One of them is $18,000 and the other one's following pursuit about $13,000. So, but with a little bit more effort, we could actually, or Casey would be able to have the ability to sell them at a higher market value. If it's tax required and we can't connect with these people reasonably without some aid and legal advice, then we have to go lower. And again, I don't have the problem because we're not trying to make money, but we're trying to do what the law has asked us to do, and that's either get the prior owner and their heirs back onto their property or to sell them, because it's to the best interest of the town to regain the revenues, and that's the main thing. So after this and then hearing what another town is going through, I would really like the board to consider changing law firms from Jensen Baird to Bernstein and Shore. There's the other thing with the current law firm going through the legal bills, which I continue to do, and I have to reevaluate them every time we sell a property, even though I've looked at them 15 times. But I did find a case where Limerick was billed for a couple of Leamington legal issues, not a large amount of money, but it totals about $800 to $1,000. And that's what I've found so far, but I'm still evaluating those legal bills to make sure, again, that we're covering our cost involved in the real estate. So, and unfortunately, these two bills that Limerick was charged for were personnel issues and not real estate. So it's concerning, and I have sent Jensen Baird an email with those invoices, and I will forward those to the board so that they know they should be expecting the credit, as well as sending it to Julie. Again, I fell a little bit behind last week, but it gave me the time to find a couple of things that have been crawling at me, and that was one of them. With those issues, at this point, and it's very hard to change law firms, because when you've been with a law firm long enough, you have a history and they know the town. But sometimes they get complacent and don't always have the energy to do what we should be doing. And so I would like the board to consider changing law firms. Natalie is retiring at the end of the year. If anybody didn't or was not aware of it, she is retiring at the end of this year, which leaves Ben, and Ben's not a bad person, Natalie's not a bad person, but I feel that with our legal dealings the last several months, that we haven't been really represented effectively. Still reviewing the last bill that we got, which was $5,400. Some of those we handled internally, so I am disputing some of the charges on those deeds.
If we would like to consider, talking with someone from Bernstein Shore, it might be advisable to invite someone from there out to speak with whoever of us might be available during a daytime session.
I don't think that would hurt. I think would you be able to ask them if they could send a representative out?
They absolutely would. We currently are dealing with Bernstein and Shore with the planning board. He won't be the one that will represent them because he's dealing with planning board, but there is one that does the municipal law. And I will forward you his information, and I will call him tomorrow and see if he can make himself available at the next meeting or open meeting afterwards. So, 'cause I know as we approach the holidays, everybody's schedules are pretty tight, so I can do that. Yep. Okay. So we'll do that. So on that note, since I've been long-winded, I'm going to let Casey take.
Just, have you compared your numbers for your revenues with Julie? Because the last report we have versus what you say, it's off significantly.
It's off considerably, and I don't know where we're off, but I will get with Julie this week, and we will go through why those are off. I do know Julie reported somewhere along the lines of $60,000 worth of revenue. We have at least $118,000 worth of revenues. So it just possibly just could be a mishap of misposting or miscommunication. So before I brought that up, I wanted to talk to Julie myself. Even Dottie's numbers don't jive with mine, and I found it, and it's the subsurface systems that we do. So there usually is an answer, and it's usually pretty simple, but we need to stay more on top of it, and I will do that more on a weekly basis from here on out. So.
It looks, I mean, just it looks like there's a, I know we sold one, I think it's the house across the street, where the refund was just under $30,000. For,
It went for $60,000.
no, but didn't the amount back to the owner,
Oh, that comes out to like $29,000, yes.
$29,550?
Yeah.
I recognize that number, and that number has been taken out of your fees, but not put in.
That's incorrect. We have a summary sheet that I produce on each property when we sell them, and I was doing it prior to receiving the check, but I stopped doing that because we've had some back out. When I get the check, I forward it to Judy, and then Judy forwards it to Julie to post it correctly. Which reminds me, I did ask Julie we got to disperse the 29,000 to the property across the street. She is being evicted on the 27th. If she doesn't leave then that's going to be escorted out. So we had a time,
You know, the 27th.
27th, but she'll have 14 days after that to vacate.
Days after that for
Or
the,
7 days, yep.
and then 48 hours after that,
Yeah.
assuming they evict her on the 27th.
So they did serve her, so she is aware of it, and there won't be another delay on that one. But that's, I did get that verification today. But we do need to disperse those. Our disbursement date was somewhere around the 1st of December, so, but
Check already written? Do you know of?
For her check?
Yes.
No, it is not.
So there's a entry in here for a refund of a cash bond. It says $29,550 on 11/20.
that is for the subdivision 3 and 5, Alair Drive. He completed the pavement. It was approved by the road commissioner, so we released the bond. He did a cash bond.
But the cash bond didn't, was the cash bond put in your account as revenues?
No.
It should not have been.
Then it shouldn't have been,
Had to be, it was in his own account, had to be by law. And I closed the account and moved it to the general checking to pay him back.
okay.
There are no interest or anything in the time frame that we had.
So has that whole bond been refunded down there?
Yes.
The whole bond for the whole project?
It's just 3 and 5.
Oh, you're
Alair
talking about the
Drive.
smaller one?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Got it.
The other one where Southern Maine Modular is, they've sent in a revised estimate to complete it, and we have approved it to be reduced to that amount, so that they're not tying up their amount, the monies for that. And I'm also working with Southern Maine Modular. I know that one of the lien holders would like to get some more money out of it, but he actually missed the opportunity to claim any monies or interest in it. It is in the process, okay, because again, that was another thing that I had a problem with our attorneys with, and another attorney said that he has absolutely zero right to it. So I really don't want people to get dragged into things that are unnecessary. But we are learning a lot, and we are one of the leading towns as far as being tax-acquired specialist. So, and Casey's been a huge help with that.
Okay, thank you. I guess, are we ready for Casey's report?
Yours.
Thank you for having me. We'll start with updates on properties that are under contract. As Stan said, we're waiting on those court records for map 39, lot 105, Dog Road. The buyer has been extremely patient so that we can serve the paperwork to the correct party. Map 39, lot 106, was scheduled to close this week. We had done an extension last week because the title company wasn't ready, and actually we weren't ready with the deed. The deed was prepared today, but before it was prepared, I received an extension request from the buyer to be prepared for tonight's meeting in the case that it couldn't be. Also, along with that, the title company had indicated to the buyer that it was possible that they couldn't do a quiet title action, which would allow the buyer to clear the title after closing. Given that news today, the buyer, I would suggest that we move forward with the buyer's request for extension to just at least give us time to investigate the reason why it may not, the title may not be able to be quieted. I did not receive information on, exactly what they thought the problem was, or any other information about their concern. So I have a request for them to extend to January 30th. Would the board like to vote on whether to accept the buyer's request for extension to investigate this?
Is there a motion to accept our real estate advisor for extending the closing to January 31st?
The request was for January 31st.
So moved.
Or questions? Okay, all in favor? Okay, extended.
Thank you. 12 Range E Road, I spoke with their agent today, and they are on track for closing on the 31st, so we'll have the deed and HUD statements prepared for next week, or the week after. Map 42, Lot 297, Claymore Terrace. Map 42, Lot 230, Nob Hill Road. Map 42, Lot 131, Nob Hill Road. And map 41, Lot 290, Arrowhead. I have closing statements for you, and you have deeds to sign, all scheduled to close at 10:30 a.m. on Friday. On map 41, Lot 231, Arrowhead, the proof of funds and deposit were received, and it has been sent to title. Our property last week was, that came out of pending status and back to active status, was map 38, lot 106, on Raptor Ridge. The property is listed for $25,000. It is a double lot, and we received 5 offers. In order of receipt, our offers are, number 1, with a price of $7,500, with a $500 deposit, not subject to inspections. It is a cash offer with proof of funds provided, and a closing date of December 24th. Offer number 2, with a price of $15,000, deposit of $500, subject to a deed inspection. It is a cash offer with proof of funds provided, which is actually from a private money lender, and a closing date of January 17th. Offer number 3, with a price of $25,000, a deposit of $750, subject to the buyer obtaining a septic design and permission for permits within 7 days. This is a cash offer with proof of funds provided within 2 days, and a closing date of January 3rd. Offer number 4, with a price of $28,000, a deposit of $500, was subject to a number of different inspections within 10 days. This was a cash offer subject to proof of funds provided within 3 days, and a closing date of January 14th, 2025. And offer number 5, with a price of $32,100, with a $500 deposit, not subject to inspections. It is a private money loan with a letter provided, and a closing date of January 13th. I would recommend accepting offer number 5. Would the board like to vote?
I make a motion, we accept offer number 5 for $32,100 for map 38, lot 106.
Second.
Okay, discussion. All in favor?
Thank you. That's all for this week.
Okay, then we're moving on to old business. And as far as reviewing legal accounts, we had none in the warrants today. Cemetery mowing and the Veteran Cemetery Committee, there's nothing new at this time. And the shelter survey, any update, Katie?
No update this week. I know I'd hoped to hear back from Ray or get in touch with him today to finalize that, but I think I'll reach out and have an update next week.
Okay, thanks. And with the squad truck, John, do we have an update on that?
The auction ended on the squad truck last Thursday. It brought in $7,850 from a very small town in Ohio. About half the size of ours, or a little less, actually. And they are making arrangements to pick it up and have it shipped to Ohio.
All right, so.
We will not, the money's been released to the auction company. Now I have to go online and get it released to us. As soon as it's released to us, they can come get the truck. We are, they can't register in Ohio without a title, no matter how old the truck is. So we're scurried to try to find a title. It looks like we do not have one or can't find it. It's so old. So we're gonna give it till noontime tomorrow to check a couple more places, and if we don't, we will apply for a title from the state and get them one that way.
Put into that?
You have the title, Steve?
You've probably got it.
Claim, but so that was bought from Weir's. Roger Bushy had gone down and bought that as a cabin chassis, so you might be able to trace it back to that. But other than that, we have the municipal registration, okay, which is transferable, right? And I do it all the time with a lot of trucks. When you sign the back of that certificate, if we can find the registration, which Judy will probably have,
Yep.
they can use that. That serves as a title, because we're not a title state of anything older than 25 years, okay? And I do that all the time with the older trucks you get in. They'll ask for a title. That counts as our title. So if you go get that, you'll see on the back, somebody's gonna sign it.
Well, I will get the mayor of West Chesterville, Ohio, in touch with the mayor of Limerick, and you two can,
You do that, I
you
mean, that's
two can
fine.
sort that out, and if he accepts it, I'm good with it. If he's, that's fine, yeah, he's the fire chief and the mayor, so, and the constable.
Whoa.
He's got more, he's got more hats than Stan.
On that note, I told Brady, I fully hope that we disclose the deficiencies in the truck, okay? I followed that, read through. One of the big dealers out west of Mass sent me a thing, and I said, asked the question, all right? We certainly all know that the truck really is not running good.
Correct, and
I'm just saying, I
You know-
hope everyone said it, because it's going a long distance, you don't want to get them there, and.
He
have them
asked
say,
me-
Oh, my God.
he asked me today, he said, if the truck is shipped to a half hour to an hour from my location, would you drive it from there to here? I said, I would not.
Okay.
I don't know that it will. You should have it shipped door to door.
One of the answers somebody put on the thing, somebody asked if it would drive 3-hour trip, and the answer, you can't hear me? Oh, my God. I'm gonna have to get a little microphone now. And the answer was, oh, yeah, I should no problem make a 3-hour trip. And I said, boy, that's very misleading, okay? Because, like I said, it really hasn't run in a year. The carburetor is absolutely junk. The mufflers are blown out of the thing, okay? And there's some big holes in the inner fenders. So dealing this for 45 years all over the country, you don't want to fill in full of surprises. And it's just being honest with them,
Yeah.
all right? It's not like we're desperate
No.
for $8,000.
No, it's not.
But
It's,
it's going to another department. Usually, when you do stuff from one department to the other, they're pretty well up front, saying, all right, we need this. And it's like I said here a few weeks ago, we put a new clutch in it, so that's something that, is better. It really is gonna need tires, but that's minor, that's all. I just.
he knows that the truck's been out of service for almost a full year. It sat outside. Well, I know we put it back in, but
To put
I
it
did,
back in service and never got
well,
back in.
again, we don't want to overstate the value of the truck. He was, He does.
I'd have
It
it
was-
delivered right to their place, all right?
I said it would be very prudent for you to deliver the truck door to door. And he said, thank you for the information.
That's all.
So he
Just
knows.
They don't need any surprises.
Okay, well, it sounds like we can take that off the agenda. We don't need that ongoing. Okay, next item is to update Microsoft Exchange email, and working on the date with Modem Waves.
Gail and I actually have a call with him on Wednesday.
Okay? And Budget 2025 update review. Discuss 2 new donation requests, change of town manager, review change of EMA budget, and review change of transfer station. So we must have some numbers in here.
So one of the big changes I see is the shelter staffing is for the EMA.
No, it's the service maintenance on the generator.
Okay.
So we upped that a little bit more. There are some other services that should be accomplished, like every year, some that are like every 3 years, and it hadn't had those, so there's a couple other ones that he can do next year that he had gotten quoted for, that it was like between 25 and 3,000, so he wanted to make sure he had enough in the budget for that. So I think it went up 2,500, I think that it was 2,500 before. That's the change in that one.
Starting out going by the sequential here, discuss the 2 new donation requests. We've got one from Sweetser, and the other one I see here is the Saco River Corridor Commission. If that's the case, we have in the past given to Saco River Corridor. So that's one that we have donated to in the past. So if anybody had a chance to review the information from Sweetser or Saco River?
No, I think you have the only copies of the letters.
Okay, well then, let's take a look and put that onto next week to see if we'll approve those. Okay, and then change of town manager. Can someone explain how that works?
So we had put on the ballot or we considered putting on the ballot if the town was willing to hire a town manager. And to prepare for that, we put funds aside in case the vote was a yes. After conferring with the town attorney, we can't, there's a special, if you're going to change your town, we would be actually changing the town form of government by hiring a town manager. To do that, you have to have a meeting 90 days before your annual town meeting, and it has to be a special vote outside of the town meeting for a couple of different reasons. One being, I guess the legislature said they didn't want a major decision for a town like this to be lumped into a whole warrant of 40 or 50 articles. And B, they wanted to give time, if the town did vote on it, 90 days before the town meeting, it gave them time to put the funding for it on the following regular town meeting warrant. So you didn't have a big chunk of money just sitting there if, in fact, it was voted no, if it was voted down no in March, but the money is in the warrant article, then the money just stays there and sits for the year. So, and some towns have gone on to spend the money elsewhere. So there is a process to do it. It takes a little bit. So at this point, the money that we put in for the salary part of the town manager, we should be taking out. But I believe we should still leave the $10,000 in there, assuming that we move forward with this next year. We will have a period of time in 2025 where we could be doing some advertising and search process. So I think the $10,000 ought to stay in there, and we remove, I think we had 60,000 we talked about. That should come out.
Okay, well, is there a motion to remove the 60,000 from manager's salary?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, and thanks, John, for, clarifying that.
Alicia did most of it.
You're so much better at explaining.
Okay, next item is the EMA budget.
I make a motion to accept the EMA budget as adjusted and recommend a yes vote.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Good. Steve, is this pertinent?
Pertinent, yes.
On that generator, so I urge, and I'll tell the budget committee to put a little extra money for that, right? The money that you allotted for it, Ray brought it and have it serviced, that's the first time in 11 years. But there wasn't enough money to have that load tested, which any generator should be load tested. So that money is for extra. Ray called me up and told me what they did and what they couldn't do because of the financial restraints on that. But that's a valuable piece of equipment. Ray can some night come and tell you what the guy said. That's an older unit, doesn't have all the computer stuff. That's a lot better than the new one we got at the station, believe it or not, just for the flaws that can happen with the electronic stuff. So we ought to maintain it. I mean, 11 years is just preposterous, but every year Ray's gonna have it done. But next year, they'd like to load test that to make sure if it's a 60K, it'll put out 50K. All right, because if you can get a generator, and some of you people would know, and you'll hear people say, oh, it doesn't do anything. The motor runs, but the generator's not generating anything. All right, so that's thing, and in the future, he's gonna hook it up partway to here, which we tried to do 15 years ago. All right, so it's a good piece, so that extra $2,500 is well spent to keep that thing serviced and up to shape. If in fact the one at the station ever craps out, this thing here can be plugged in to run the station. So it's a good asset down at the water district or at the sewer plant. Still many uses for it, so I urge you to keep that money.
Okay, well, I believe we approved it as such. And there's review change of transfer station.
I'm gonna hold off on that. I just checked with Joanne on something, because I just wanna make sure I was clear before you vote on that.
Add that to next week's old business.
I just wanna double check it was the way it was worded.
Next item is revision of bill policy. There was a change in line 1.
I think it said, the name of the account, we changed it to, it's gonna go along with the new purchasing, policy that we're implementing at the beginning of the year, so we changed it to the number on the account, so it makes sense. So it's just that small.
A motion to accept and sign the bill policy.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Discussion. I see none. All in favor? Okay, we'll sign that after the fact. And reviewing fund balance policy.
There was some discussion last week when we were talking about housekeeping articles. Bring that,
Well, is there anything needs to be done with this tonight?
And the least we gotta do is change the date on it, because it's been, it says in there to adhere to the 2013 fund balance policy. We have updated it
Twice.
since then, twice, and it does look like the changes that were, when we updated it this past April, the changes that were needed were made to keep the numbers similar throughout the policy. Before, there were two spots where they were different. So other than changing the date on I think the policy's okay.
A motion to accept the fund balance policy and update it with a current date?
I don't think we have to update it at all, I think it's fine. It just needs to be updated on the green sheet. On the green sheet, it says adhere to the fund balance policy from 2013. So the only change that needs to be made is just a clerical change on the green sheet.
Okay, good.
Or in this, I believe is fine.
Old business. Under new business, sign municipal deeds. We have a number of them, so we'll sign those after the meeting. If we have a motion to accept and sign the municipal deeds.
those are all the ones where Casey's closing. We've already approved.
Yeah, they've already been approved.
Okay, just, then all we need to do is sign them. We'll do that after the meeting. And with that, hearing of citizens. Seeing no hand, oh, Howard.
I want to say I can't urge the board enough to hire Sign Shore. We had them for years here, and we didn't have anywhere near the legal problems we've experienced with this law firm we've got now. Unfortunately, the attorney that we used to deal with, he passed away, but they've got to have another one as good as him in there. But I would want to get someone that's got a little bit of experience rather than somebody just out of college that really doesn't know a hell of a lot.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, it's the Steve Show.
Speak up? Speak up. Okay,
If we want to hear you.
I will try to speak up. Okay. Couple of things. Rubbish contract. Do we have the rubbish contract signed yet? Because we get 2 weeks, I think, before the end of the year. So is that, we got that back, or is it going out or anything?
They have it, they're reviewing it.
They're reviewing it? Okay. The other thing is thin ice, something I'll just address tonight. You know, we had an incident Saturday where somebody went through. Cold nights, but there's still several spots on the lakes that are just totally wide open. We had a great outcome of the one we had, the other thing, but the sad part about it is we actually didn't have a truck in the fire station that was capable of bringing our ice sled down in case we needed it. Right, we still got 2 broken trucks. Right, the brush truck's still on in service. The utility truck went out to have it fixed, and whatever they fixed, it didn't make the truck any better, so it's still out being fixed. And so So, you know, we're a year on the brush truck, we're since April 1st on the utility, and here it is. Luckily, we had a good outcome, because that would have been a sad thing. The generator we took care about. The other thing is the sand and salt. Alicia, is that online where the sand and salt pile is? I had several calls, people asking me, you know, where it was.
No.
You know, maybe we can even take a picture of the pile that's up there behind the brick town hall and put that beside it so people know where it is. You know, last week we had several days of ice, and a lot of the pile's gone. Some people know where it is, but other people are just wondering for the access. You know, that's an important thing there. Now, the contract you guys have with the fire chief, have you guys renewed that yet? It's the end of the year? Or is that something coming up?
It's been under discussion, and we've addressed it, but I don't have the details in front of me.
'Cause I still think that we voted, the townspeople voted for a 40-hour chief. And that's something that we really need here in town, and that's something you guys ought to, you know, consider. Okay? We need a chief that's gonna be here, chief that's gonna do shifts, chief that's gonna go to calls, okay? And I just think as that thing's coming up for review, and if somebody wants to call me, we can discuss it off air, because it's really not the place right here to discuss it.
We need a chief that can adequately run that department to the best of its ability, and we have that. We have that.
We need a full, yeah, no, I'm not talking
No,
personnel
we have
stuff.
it.
I'm just saying.
We don't need to talk about days, hours, times. We need somebody that can run that department to the professional manner that it's being run right now. And it's been seen countless times. I mean, that department's never been run so well. In deference, I mean, we've had a lot of good chiefs that have done a great job. They've been part-time, they haven't been able to put the full time into it. The chief we have now has brought that department to where it is. It was shown how professional that department is at Chief LePage's funeral. You could see it in the way they look, the way they act, the way they dress, okay? The chief stands up here and talks about, you know, calls that they go on. You know, the thing that I've learned about firemen and the fire chief is they don't talk about what they do, okay? But you hear stories of beating on somebody's chest that overdosed for 45 minutes and Narcanning them 3 times and bringing them back to life, okay? You don't hear that when the chief comes up and say, we had 12 calls this week and we saved 4 people from dying, okay? That department is right where it needs to be, and it does not need any changes in the leadership at this time. And we're not,
I'm saying changes of hours and availability.
yeah.
That's what I'm.
More importantly, are you saying that that truck is not running? Do you know that you're at the utility just went out to be fixed?
From what I understand, the utility went out to be fixed. On its way back, it threw a check engine light, so it went back to where we got it fixed.
Okay.
That is my understanding of it. The brush truck is right now at RSD Graphics getting the lettering put on. The siren was installed over the weekend.
So in shop, the utility truck went up to have what somebody had said was a turbo, so we got a turbo. And on the way back, check engine light come on, it went into numb mode, which means it wouldn't go 10 miles an hour. And instead of bringing it back at that point in time, they left it in the station for a week. And now it's back over there trying to analyze what is wrong with it. But you can't sit here and tell me that since April. What's going on is just terrible. Okay? Anything in that station supposed to be up running on a minute's notice. Whether we have to go through the door or not, it should be ready to go out the door. Okay?
I make a motion, we hold the payment in this week's warrant to fix the utility truck. There's a check in there that truck went out that's for the repair. I assume, seeing the bill, that it was repaired. So I make a motion that we hold that check until we have a discussion with the fire chief.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
I will abstain as it has to do with the fire department.
Okay,
You'll hold that, Jack? Julie, for the, it's, I'll pick it out. I mean, it may not be their fault, so I don't want to say over here who it is. We'll pull it out.
Just make a note on the
Yep.
front of it, the warrant, please.
They may make it perfectly right. I don't want it to be thought that they did a poor job, so.
They're locked up, so just make a note on the warrant, please.
Yep.
Thank you.
And after that, I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
all in favor? Okay, thank you, everyone.